come with me.
We're wrangling cats here this morning. Welcome. Good noon. I'm Reverend Dr. Marlene Morris, and welcome to our weekly spiritual spa, your Sunday spiritual indulgence. We're here to help you feel better if you're feeling bad, and to help you feel even better if you're already feeling fine. And we can serve as a spiritual urgent care if that happens to be what you need on, any given day. Ernest Holmes, the author of The Science of Mind and founder of religious science, used to open his radio and television shows with the words, "There is a power for good in the universe, and you can use it." So true. But the greater truth is that you really can't not use it. In fact, you're using it right now. You use it all the time because it is done unto you as you believe. The important part of Dr. Holmes' admonition was to remember to use that power for good in your life. So I'm going to ask you to listen to the words that I'm about to say and consider them in light of your own life. We are here to remember who we are. We are children of creation. We are here to remember that we are created in the image and likeness of God, Spirit, creation, whatever it is you choose to call the creative motivating force of the universe. And we honestly don't think it cares what we call it, as long as we learn to use it. We are here to heal our misconceptions and to release whatever beliefs no longer serve us. We are here to learn how to use our divine inheritance to make our lives and our world a better place. We are here to be awake, to inspire, to uplift, to heal, and to make whole ourselves and our world. That's why we're here, and I hope you'll stick around and listen to what we have to say. Good morning, ladies. Glad that you're here. Glad that we can share this time together. Good noon. You know, I love to get you thinking right from the start, right from the get-go, because the last thing I want you to do is to leave your brain at the door. So here's this morning's question. Without looking at a clock or that little corner down on your computer screen, what time is it? What time does it feel like? What time would you like it to be? And are you right now experiencing the time of your life? Now, there are no right or wrong answers to those questions. There are only your answers. And if they're right for you, if they are in alignment with your highest values and in support of your greatest dreams, then they're the right answers for you. Or is it time for a change? I'm going to jump right into what I'm going to talk about this afternoon because it kind of sets up those questions. And then when I'm done, let's chat about how that just might help you change your life for the better, which is the whole reason we're here. To change your life for the better, because if your life is better, then life in general is better for everyone, everywhere. It's all interconnected. That's another thing that we believe here. So stick around, listen, and let's see. You know, years ago, I found a little picture that I just fell in love with. It showed a small child, a little boy, I think, sitting, as children do, back on his haunches, staring fixated at a lone flower. There's a commercial on air right now where a little girl spots a flower coming up through the crack in the sidewalk. And you watch her as the flower grows, and then finally a gentleman shows up, presumably her father, and very, very gently wiggles the flower out of the crack between the pieces of cement. And they take it to the park and plant it there. Of course, the more I see that commercial, the more I think about my little picture. In the background of my picture were the words, "Once in a golden hour, I cast to earth a seed. Up there came a flower. The people said, a weed." The words, all those many years ago, inspired me. They spoke to me of doing what you love to do. Casting your seeds and watching what comes of that. And seeing the beauty of it, no matter what anybody else said or thought. I had the picture hanging somewhere in my home or in my office for years before it occurred to me that the words might be part of something even more, and that it might serve me to find out where they came from. I didn't have to Google very much before I discovered that they were the words of Alfred Lord Tennyson. And there was indeed more. And I'd like to share it with you. You'll see why. Tennyson wrote, "Once in a golden hour I cast to earth a seed. Up there came a flower. The people said, a weed. To and fro they went through my garden bower, and muttering discontent cursed me and my flower. Then it grew so tall it wore a crown of light, but thieves from over the wall stole the seed by night. Sowed it far and wide by every town and tower, till all the people cried, splendid is the flower. Read my little fable, he that runs may read. Most can raise the flowers now, for all have got the seed. And some are pretty enough, and some are poor indeed. And now again the people call it but a weed." Tennyson was the longest tenured poet laureate of England, appointed by Queen Victoria, and author of such famous poems as The Charge of the Light Brigade and Idylls of the King. So why, I found myself asking, did he take the time to write this little piece that sounds almost like a ditty you would read to a small child? According to my research, the poem is believed to be Tennyson's commentary on what people thought of his poetry early in his life. His first attempts were met with criticism, quite a bit of criticism. And frustrated and disillusioned, he didn't publish any more poetry until he had to. After losing a lot of money on a bad financial decision, who hasn't done that, he turned back to writing. The next publication of his poetry came 10 years after the first. And then a decade later, his poetry was accepted as being great. Who decided that, for whatever reason, changed everything in his life. And under Queen Victoria, he became the Poet Laureate of England and continued to write poems until he died. Some of those poems became quite famous. Splendid is the flower, the people said. Others were more obscure, and some, he writes, were pretty enough, and some were poor indeed, and now again the people would call it but a weed. A life in a few lines. Haven't we all lived it? Haven't we? But enough about Tennyson. Though I could go on, his work is amazing. However, what I really want to talk to you about this morning is not the flowers or the weeds. It's that golden hour that Tennyson invokes in his opening line. Once in a golden hour, I cast to earth the seed. A golden hour is a magical time. A time in which opportunity is at its greatest. When everything that could possibly be in your favor is in your favor. A golden hour is a time in which things can be accomplished more easily, more gracefully, more beautifully, more completely. In photography, the golden hour, sometimes also known as the magic hour, especially in cinematography, is that period shortly after sunrise or just before sunset, during which daylight is redder and softer compared to when the sun is higher in the sky. During that golden hour, the sky has a distinctive look to it, a look that's not found any other time, and it is fleeting, which makes it precious. It is the time when more beautiful images can be captured by the camera, or, if you're paying attention, by the eye. When you live as we did for a decade on the Central Coast in California, there is a time of day when the view coming over the hills between Paso Robles and Cambria make the valley and the ocean beyond look magical, mystical. It was one of my favorite things to see, and I went out of my way on some days to be there, to experience it. Should you be looking at the horizon, it is the time of morning when the earth seems newborn and somewhat otherworldly, as if some other powers have lingered just long enough to see the new day. Or if you were standing by the ocean in the evening, it is that magical hour just before sunset when the sky is filled with sherbet colors and the beauty is so outstanding that you sometimes have to remind yourself to breathe. Medically, especially in emergency medicine, the golden hour, also known as golden time, refers to a time period following traumatic injury that is considered the most critical for successful emergency treatment. In mystical terminology, they say that the golden hour is somewhere between the hour of your birth and the hour of your death, and that it is the hour of the soul's awakening. The experience when the meaning of everything pours its golden splendor and blessing over your soul. So, why am I going on about all of this? Why the golden hour? Because I believe we have one today. Oh, and it doesn't have to be the hour just before sunrise or the hour just before sunset, though it could be if you choose. In fact, it can be any hour you choose. You set your clocks back an hour last night, right? or you realized this morning that you hadn't done that yet. And they say you have gained an hour, or reclaimed the one you thought you lost last spring when you set your clock ahead an hour and lost some sleep. But didn't it feel almost as though something magical happened when you went to bed last night and got the magical ability to move your world back an hour? It's not 11, it's only 10. It's not 10, it's only 9. Now you can just let that hour you gained get away from you and dissolve into the ordinary course of your day. Or you can choose that it is truly a golden hour and reclaim it, reposition it. What I'm saying is you can declare it too precious to ignore and simply claim the hour and its power anytime you choose, although I would definitely use it today before it slips your memory. And hours do have a way of doing that, don't they? But it is your hour after all, and you did the magic of turning the clock back, didn't you? This golden hour can become an hour in which miraculous seeds may be planted. Seeds of whatever you would like to grow more of in your life or in your garden. An hour in which miraculous deeds may be done, or miraculous things may be set in motion by you. Miraculous things that will create beauty or peace or love in this world, in your world. Now, there may be some who disagree with what you do. Some who would denigrate what you choose to do. People who don't recognize the beauty of what you do with your golden hour. For now. There may be those who would say you are crazy for doing what you do, for thinking as you do, for being enthralled by your weed. But who knows what will come of that? Who knows what will come of your choice of doing what you do with this golden time? What if you did that thing that you really want to do? What if you went after that dream that you dreamed long ago? What if something you planted turned out not to be a weed after all, but an amazing and exciting new thing? A thing that makes a difference in your thinking or your life or your world. What if? What if, in spite of your protestations to the contrary, you are not too old, nor too young, not too limited by your past or your past accomplishments or lack of accomplishments, not to anything to accomplish that which your heart is still urging you to do? Tennyson wrote, "Sometimes the heart sees what's invisible to the eye." And then he issued an invitation. Come, he said, come, friends, it's not too late to seek a newer world. It doesn't matter who or what or why you were detoured or deterred from accomplishing your dream. If you are still dreaming it, it is calling to you, urging you to remember and to return and to redeem the dream. It is never too late or too early to realize a dream in some form. You might have to make a few adjustments from your original picture, but perhaps that's why it didn't happen before now. You needed to make a few adjustments you weren't yet wise enough to understand. There are always for each of us invisible means of support on which we can depend, that will work out the challenges, that will open the doors, and will point the way. We can absolutely depend on Spirit, the invincible, eternal, unlimited Spirit that is right there where you are, that is within you and will guide you and strengthen you and take you to that place in awareness where you begin to see that right here on earth, we are already in paradise. And in paradise, every weed is a flower unrecognized, and every hour is golden. We may not see it when we are in the midst of the problem or the challenge, but it is always there. If we will turn our attention away from the challenge and reach toward that which is always greater. Tennyson in In Memoriam wrote, I am beheld again what is, and no man understands. And out of darkness came the hands that reached through nature, molding men and women. Look, I understand that when we are in the darkness, the shadows, the fog, captured by the problem, buying into the loss, there is little that can be seen. But when enlightenment comes, when we remember that we can turn to Spirit and remember that the turning is not to something outside ourselves, but to the very truth of our being, then in that moment, we are present in the golden hour. Then we are transformed. Then we are renewed and recreated and redeemed. It is never too late to claim or reclaim your golden hour. In Ulysses, Tennyson writes, though much is taken, much abides. And though we are not now that strength which in old days moved heaven and earth, that which we are, and it is enough. One equal temper of heroic hearts, perhaps made weak by time and fate, but strong in will to strive, to seek, to find, and not to yield. Once in a golden hour, I cast to earth a seed. Release any thoughts of what you may have lost or missed. If it really is yours, it will come back to you, multiplied and running over. Great ideas are amazingly patient. You may have to wait till spring to be rewarded for that which you choose to create in your golden hour. But oh, what a time you will have watching it grow. A whole new week with a whole new sense of timing and possibly a whole new world begins today. I invite you to stay aware and claim what is yours. May you discover and celebrate the many golden hours this week has in store for you. May you hold them close to your heart. And may each of them bless you and your world 1,000 times over. Once in a golden hour, I cast to earth a seed. Up there came a flower. And who cares what the people said? Who cares? You choose your golden hour and use it well. And you name what comes up because it's yours. So, my friends, you've been chatting here. Hold on, I'm checking. Hi, Tucker. So, my friends, there's a lot going on. Pay attention. Can you feel it? It's a magic time. If you will claim it. You've got a whole extra hour today. What will you do with it? You could pray. You could meditate. You could pray and meditate. You could find a spot in nature that inspires you. You could sit and listen to music that inspires you. You can come listen to me, and I hope I inspire you. What will you do with your hour? Heidi, take a deep breath. Or take a shallow breath that makes you feel better. Take a breath that makes you feel better. Now another. And hope with breathing in between. Don't time your breathing to my telling you to take a breath. Just keep breathing. It helps. Consciously breathing. Aware of your breathing. And know that, in fact, it is in God's hand. It is. We have been knowing the highest and the best for you. We have been knowing that this is going to be a magical, transformative time. And it is. It is. Keep knowing it. Now, it may not look exactly like you think it's going to look. If we were so brilliant, if we were so smart, we wouldn't need to pray. We wouldn't need to be reminded that we're not in this alone, would we? Mm-mm. Prayer is kind of an admittance that my conscious mind isn't aware of all the answers. So I'm going someplace higher. I'm going to my higher mind. And there, everything can be worked out perfectly. And so if this is right and meant to happen, I'm claiming it as right and meant to happen. If it is not, then I am claiming what is right and meant to happen. And if this isn't it, I have to sit back and let go and leave it in God's hands. God's mind. And I know it's heavy. I'm not trying to make light of it. And I know this is important to you. And I know this is an awkward, horrible, messy time. And I know you having to trust others does not come naturally. But we're all in this together. Trust the God within you and the God within the other people involved to work it out for your highest good and the highest good of the program. Okay? Okay. And breathe. And I recognize that pushing anybody pushing out of your comfort zone is daunting and scary. We kind of like the nest we have built. But out of your comfort zone is where the magic happens. You know, you can stand and look at Everest and be amazed by the data, or you can climb it. Breathing, breathing. I'm with you on that one, Jennifer. Phones are not... I was in a seminar one time where we had to build a shield. And what they wanted you to put in the divide the shield into 4 pieces. And the upper left-hand corner was the thing you feared the most. And in the moment, I drew a telephone. I've never been comfortable talking on the phone. I don't know why. I'm actually fine once I do it. But the fear factor does pop in. Heidi, I would suggest that you're boxing with your shadow side. You guys are amazing. I love how you think. And she gets to let go, let God. Yes, ma'am. Yeah. It's where the magic happens. You know, if we stay in our comfort zone, things stay the way they are for a while. And then it gets uncomfortable in our comfort zone. It's like you're reaching for the stars, but you're living under a bubble. And the bubble keeps you from reaching the stars. And eventually that gets old. You get uncomfortable and it gets sweaty in the bubble, and sooner or later you got to break through. Don't you? So, what are you going to do with your hour? You geniuses. What are you going to do with your hour? You got a whole extra hour. Nobody can take it away from you. I know come spring, you reset the clocks again and it feels like you lose an hour, but you don't really. You know that. You just have to pedal a little faster. You don't get to waste as much time the day following the spring daylight savings event, because the day itself is an hour shorter. But you know, after our initial confusion and complaining about that, we just settle right back in, don't we? And we start enjoying the fact that the days are longer. It's going to get dark earlier today. Maybe Heidi's going to re-listen to the talk. Okay, darling, do that as many times as you want. Maybe you can work your magic in the darkness when the day gets shorter. Maybe. I had an interesting experience this morning. I was the guest speaker at Unity of Ventura, which right now is still all pre-recorded and videotaped and whatever it is they do with it. It's not live. I actually did the talk on Tuesday and shipped it off to their magical man, who not only is the leader of the band and a singer, but is the only one who understands all of the tech. So I'm still not. Now, this is a couple of hours later, because that was on air at 10 o'clock this morning. They never got it up. Now, they're on, if you go to their website, they'll tell you, they are on Zoom, Sunday morning, 10 o'clock, Zoom, Facebook Live, their page on Facebook Live, YouTube, it's something else, like 5 different places. Everything shows up at the same time. But the only one that is actually under anybody's control at all is Zoom. The other ones are just posted, and there they are. Which means you can listen to it on Zoom, or you can switch over, which I did at one point. I'll tell you why in a moment. You can switch over and do Facebook Live. So I always watch on Zoom because they have a little thing they call a spiritual salon at the end of it, where everybody talks about whatever it is they talk about. And it's kind of fun. And they're going to have a new minister soon. I'm not sure exactly when. They've chosen her, and she was going to be there for the spiritual salon this morning. So the Zoom connection was important because that's only done on Zoom. And they weren't making it work. It wasn't happening. The tape was not rolling, as they say in the biz. There was no sound coming from the host's speakers, which meant there was no sound for anybody. So it was supposed to have started at 10. I finally stopped listening, which I was doing pretty much out of curiosity because I couldn't help, at 11:15, and they still hadn't gotten it working. Finally, they had come to the conclusion that the person who usually runs that took her headset with her, and that somehow her headset was controlling the sound, and they just couldn't make it work. But they spent over an hour trying. And the new minister popped in because she was going to be there for the spiritual salon, having no clue what was going on. And the practitioner on duty, the host for Unity of Ventura, kept apologizing to me. And I just kept saying, if anybody really wants to hear the service, they can pop over to Facebook Live at any moment. Or the website for Unity of Ventura, and it's there, and they can listen to it anytime, right from the very beginning. So you don't need to apologize to me. People who want to hear it can hear it. I'm just sorry you couldn't make this work. And the poor new minister, I think, was trying to make some sort of sense out of what was going on, but couldn't quite because she came in the middle of the conversation. It was just an interesting thing to watch the dynamics. And I did honestly find myself wondering if anybody was praying. And I thought at one point about asking, but then I decided I wouldn't. I would just stay out of their business, as it were. But I prayed that nobody was terribly upset by it. And I thought, they've used up a good portion of their golden hour trying to fix something that isn't going to be fixed. Just a thought. Don't waste it. Because tomorrow there'll be 24 hours just like there were, but today they're 25. They really are, 25. Now, I know you slept through some of them, but that's okay. You still got the hour. Use it well. Do something for you. Do something that lifts your spirit, heals your body, calms your mind, makes you feel part of the magic. Plant a seed. And that can be a real seed, which you can then watch grow, which is a magical process. Or it can be the seed of an idea, the seed of a thought, the seed of the future. It's up to you. What will you do with your hour? Don't waste it. Now, you can always sometime tomorrow decide that you are going to claim it right then and there and do something for yourself, and that's fine. But it's going to feel more magical if you use it today. And you may forget tomorrow. Today, we're still a little entranced with the idea of having picked up an hour, a little probably better rested because maybe we slept longer, or maybe we just didn't rush quite so much into our morning because it's an hour. I found myself waking up at exactly the same time. It's kind of what I do. My body has a clock, and it went off and it said it's time to get up, and I got up and I looked at the clock and went, whoa, I don't have to do this. Yeah, I do. My body wants to get up, but oh, it was just delicious. Not feeling like I had to rush, feeling like I could just move at a lovely pace, which I did. What will you do? Talk to me. What are you going to do with your hour? Heidi's already said she's going to listen to the talk again. I love that. Thank you. How about the rest of you? What are you going to do with your hour? How will you make your life, your world, your family, your work, your body better? There's no time, they say, like the present. They say that. That may be true, especially if you use the present well. It can be magical. Create some magic with your hour. Create some magic in your day, or someone else's. Use the time well. It seems so often that there isn't enough magic in the world. Make some. So, if you need some support in creating your magic, how can I support you? What can we pray for? What can God do? We have a closing song. The music department always picks out something fabulous. And I'm always amazed. She manages to pick out songs that I have never heard before that are absolutely perfect. I just got a thumbs up over on the other side. So, prayer support. Shall I just make it up as I go along? Let's see what I can do. I'd like you to know with me that prayer works. The prayer changes things. It may be your mind that gets changed. It may be the circumstances that gets changed. It may be someone else that gets changed. Thank you, Heidi. So let's pray, shall we? And close your eyes if that's comfortable for you, or just soft focus. And breathe. Breathe. And notice that all of the air that you could possibly want is available. You have to do nothing to make that happen, except breathe. And we forget sometimes that we can just breathe. And as we breathe in, let us know that we are breathing in everything. Because all that there is God, Spirit, creation, the golden light. Call it what you will. It doesn't care what you call it. Find a name for it that speaks to your heart and your soul and your spirit. Up there came a flower. The people said a weed. You name it what you choose. And know with me that you are never alone. God is where you are right now. You have only to look within at any moment to know that you are guided, you are protected, you are inspired by a God that knows only good. And I know that that power responds to whatever we speak. Because if everything is that, then we are that, and our word has the power of creation. And so I know that what we claim becomes reality even before we speak the words. And so I know for Dana, the neck pain that she has been experiencing now begins to dissolve and diminish and return to the nothingness from which it came, leaving her with mobility, and relief. I know for Heidi the realization of the dream and the use of her powerful and amazing talents. And I know that she now lets go and lets the God within her guide this process to the most right, the most powerful, the most amazing use of her gifts. And she is fulfilled in ways that even she, with her wonderful imagination, could not have imagined. I know for CAC, amazing support. The realization of that which she pictures. I know that her words flow on the page and on the screen in wonderful ways. And that everything that is needed and everyone that is needed to make that happen is magnetized to her. Now. I know for Carol, peace of mind, peace of heart. A letting go as she steps into a new chapter, a new and exciting and worthwhile chapter in her life. And that she leaves nothing good behind, but takes the love and the joy and the memories with her, and that they are with her all the time, supporting her as they always have. I know for Claire, peace of mind, peace of heart, lack of fear. A gentle awareness that he too is stepping into his next chapter. I know for Brenda, a clear mind that listens now to her spirit, as does her body. I know for Debbie and Dave, the perfect property for their senior dog rescue and the perfect home for them. They may think it requires a real estate miracle, but but we know that miracles are just wonderful things that we didn't think were going to happen. I know for Jennifer, discernment and stillness, inner peace, and the accomplishment of that which she sets her mind to do. I know that Laura in Sedona knows what to say and do with and for her cousin, that she brings with her her highest wisdom and deepest heart. I know that all is coming together for good in the most amazing, seemingly miraculous ways. And I know that each of us still experiences that childlike sense of wonder as things fall into place and become that which they are intended to do. This is a golden hour, and we accept and are grateful for the magic in it, for the power and the presence of spirit that moves things, changes things, loves things, creates things. And for our clear minds and sweet, sweet spirits that see it all and delight like children in it. It is as though we can see the gold of the hour shimmering and telling us that all is well. And so it is. And so it is. Well, we all have work to do today, don't we? First step is accept your good. Second step is decide what that looks like. And the third step is claim it, name it, watch it. Use your golden hour well. Don't let it slip by. That would be sad. You can do magic today. I expect you to. Indeed, Heidi. Out of the shadow streams the golden light. Interestingly enough, my friend, it does not take shadows to create light, but it does necessitate light to create shadows. Let the light shine. Create something wonderful today. And come back on Wednesday and tell me about it. I expect nothing but good from all of you. Dana, expect that to soften and to let go. It just needs to let go. I love you guys. I trust you will have the most magical day. Look, you've already created a whole extra hour in it. Do something good with it. I love you. I'll see you Wednesday. Go with God. Because you can't go any other way. Anyway. God bless. Don't forget to listen to the song.